Welcome to my channel, The Binge Eating Therapist. I'm Sarah, former binge eater turned psychotherapist, and my mission is to use this space to bring content to you that will help you understand your struggle with food and break free from binge eating. I want to start today's video with a question, and I ask you to really hear this question and just check out what goes on for you when I ask it. So it's this: if I could wave a magic wand and get rid of all urges to binge for you so that you would never want to binge again, you would feel extremely peaceful around food, you would enjoy food, you'd feel satisfied, you would have so much more mental space because you wouldn't be thinking about food all the time, and all in all you'd have a great relationship with food. But, you knew there was a but in exchange for that, you could never ever lose a single pound of weight from today. Would you take it? I ask this question quite a lot, and there's not many people that answer without hesitation with a yes. For most people, this ignites a conflict because that desire to lose weight is in there somewhere. It may be really prevalent at the forefront for you, or you may be somebody who's been doing a lot of work on trying to let go of the desire to lose weight, and so there can be a sense that you should be able to say yes to this question. But let's just get curious in what came up. You might have came up straight away with an emphatic hell no, or you might have kind of ummed and ahed and sort of thought, yeah, maybe. But either way, with anybody who struggles with disordered eating, pretty much 100% have some kind of challenges with how they feel about their weight or the shape and size of their body. And so, of course, with something like intuitive eating, there's a question that comes up for a lot of people. Well, if intuitive eating means that I'm not binging and I'm eating in response to my body, am I going to lose weight? And after I edited my last video about mistakes that I'd made during intuitive eating, I realised afterwards that I never mentioned weight. And for me, I think that was a big thing that kept coming up again and again because it derailed me a lot. So what would happen is I would be very committed to eating intuitively, staying present and all the principles of intuitive eating. And I would feel great for it as well. And then I would notice that my body seemed to be getting a bit smaller. So I could feel like I was losing some weight. And as this started to happen, I would start to feel quite excited about this. And I'd be thinking ahead to, when I'm this size, then I'm going to buy this, and then I'm going to do this. And that excitement that is so close to diet mentality. Feeling excited about weight loss is such a huge part of what is so seductive about diets, right? So when this excitement is here, there's that. I then started to overthink my food choices again. I then started, even though I was trying to eat intuitively, if I felt like I'd eaten too much, some of the guilt came back because this desire to continue losing weight had been ignited. And so I'd say slowly, but quite often I think it happened quite suddenly, but it seemed to be really sneaky. I'd be back in the old thinking, and then I would binge, and then I would be trying to control my food again, and I was off the wagon of intuitive eating, if you like. And intuitive eating really doesn't need to be a wagon that you're on or off, but I would throw it out the window again for a while. So if binge eating has caused your body to be at a higher weight than where it wants to be, then any kind of changing in your eating that means reducing binge eating may mean that your weight comes down, or it may not. A lot of people have this idea in their head, this ideal size that they would want to be. And for a lot of people, it's not particularly realistic. And so there's another question perhaps in here is are you willing to trust your body to end up where it wants to be for your overall health? And by health, I am not just talking about physical health. I mean psychological and emotional health as well. Because that I think is quite often the cost of shrinking your body for a lot of people, is that it comes with this mental and emotional cost of feeling deprived, of being at risk of binging, like all these other things. So we get caught up, I say we, like society gets caught up in like the size, what does the size of your body like mean about your health? And I'm a therapist, but I kind of always come from the stance that health starts in the mind. So when we're talking about like what is a good size for your body to be, like we're not just talking physical, we're talking sort of mental and emotional as well. And whenever weight loss becomes forefront again, it impairs your ability to make choices in the here and now and respond to what's going on in you, because your brain is starting to tell you how much you should be eating and that you should be eating in a deficit in order to lose weight. So then it becomes confusing and people are like, well, what is my motivation? Like, am I eating this because I'm giving myself permission, or am I not eating that because I don't want it, or am I being a bit restrictive? And once we get in our heads trying to figure out our motivations, we can end up going round and round in circles a little bit. So I think we've got a fairly good system that may be quite beneficial, and that is like, how are you feeling? So like when you're making a food choice about whether to eat something or not eat something, is there a sense of feeling proud and like you're a great person because you haven't eaten something? Or is there just a sense of peace and calmness that this is not what I want right now and I can have it later if I want to? I think if we try and think our way out of it, we get stuck. We have emotions and we have a body that sends us physical signals, and we've just got really in a bit of a tangle at being able to hear them, because the voice in our head is so loud, right? Telling us this and telling us that, and then what our voice is telling us is affecting how we're feeling, and we really can't get underneath it all. So there's something again about stop, breathe, intention. So sometimes like when people talk about feeling really confused about what to eat, I might say, can you just give it 5-10 minutes and just focus on feeling a bit more peaceful? Like, I don't have to decide this right now. I need to just wait and try and check in with myself and see what I want. And does it feel, is there guilt around food? That is kind of quite indicative that there might be something diety around it. You know, food regret, like everybody regrets what they eat sometimes, because sometimes people will go and they'll eat and they just don't feel comfortable afterwards. And they'll think, oh, I wish I made a different choice. That is kind of just a natural, like, listening, responding and going, yeah, that wasn't great, as opposed to, I've eaten too much and I feel terrible and I'm the worst intuitive eater in the world and I might as well go and binge. So I think first of all, like, there's nothing wrong with admitting that the desire to lose weight is there. If you try to convince yourself that it's not there, you're just going to end up sort of suppressing something down that may then play out in ways that are outside of your awareness. So if you can say, actually, there is a weight conflict, there's part of me that does want to be smaller, whether that's come from our culture or the doctor, or we feel like it's come from ourselves, like the fact is that it's there. But how much that desire motivates you around food, that I think is the bit to pay attention to. Because when weight loss, when we're focusing on the outcome, we screw up the process. And the process is our everyday relationship with food. So we're then going to end up feeling anxious, stressed and miserable trying to figure out what it is that you want to be eating or feels good to be eating for you right now. So, can intuitive eating help you lose weight? The answer is going to be a very unsatisfying maybe, but also that if that is the reason for doing intuitive eating, you won't be able to do intuitive eating. That's kind of the paradox. So, I'm going to leave it there for today, and I'll see you on the next video.